to doing this kind of thing. And you get a public building, you're leasing it for, it's just not good.
You're gonna take on a lot of liability, somebody, you know what I'm saying? What kind of liability you gonna have with that? If you get somebody in there and something happens, county liability, I don't know.
Well, we're spending taxpayers' money. You know, it says here for other groups too, but larger groups, I mean, basically, we've only got these 3 or 4 that we're interested in to start with. We're gonna spend taxpayers' money, and tourism's the only one that operates anything through the courthouse or the.
Well, and again, we did not put it out there for the public because.
And I heard the police was wanting to come with their lodge thing. And, you know, I mean, yeah, they said they may pay I know this is what I heard, they might pay $750 a year. Well, that's not gonna be near what the upkeep and the electric and the water and the sewage and everything is on this building. Without more specifics, I can't back this. I think that, you know, my feeling is that, you know, if they don't want the building, let them give it to us. If we want to take it.
They are going to tear it down.
Huh?
If we don't take it, they're going to tear it down.
Well,
the 5,000.
Either way, we're not going to have tax dollars on it.
No,
and we're going to have a burden of keeping it up. Because I've been in it. I mean, it needs some tender loving care. They've not spent a lot on it over the years they've been out there.
No. Well, I think my question about liability is a bigger issue too.
Yeah.
Because if you go to Springer, who we underwrite with, and tell them we're going to let 2 or 3 other agencies in there, that commingling of a liability is a real issue anymore. And I mean, if the tourism's the only one out there, got a little bit of a deal. But these other issues, I should be going to sign contracts with these other people. I mean, if you do the Kiwanis, you'd have to sign a contract with them.
Is tourism?
And who can sign a contract with them? Commissions, we don't want, right?
Well, when we started this, we had thought we might be able to get a part-time tourist person.
So they would only be out there part-time.
Well.
So if nobody else was out there from the county, that would be the only thing there part-time, and we'd still have the upkeep of the building and everything.
I'd be more prone to support it if I knew we had 2 acres of ground that we were going to own, and we weren't going to be forced to remove the building.
Okay, well, I'm not in a position to negotiate that. You guys are, or the county commissioners. We went to both parties trying to get this to go. So, you know, nobody moved forward with it, so I've come and asked for the last time. If we're going to pursue it, but that's your jobs to do it, not mine.
I think the biggest question you need to answer, because of the difference in ownership between the building and the real estate, is what is DNR's deal, lease, with Peabody? You know, do they have a 99-year lease with Peabody that will make sure that?
A lease that says if they get notice within 90 days.
What's the deal?
Okay, so
But can they transfer?
So
What deal?
if Peabody,
I just looked at the bill. They just called me and wanted to look at the bill, and that's all I did.
Go ahead, John.
so if Peabody gives 90-day notice to either DNR or we take the building, they give it to us. You got 90 days and your choices are, you pay the cost of moving the building or walking away from it. And just leave it and walk away from it. That's going to be your choices. Because the split in ownership there is a problem. And one of you guys says, I'd kind of like to have a couple acres that would actually be the county's land. And I would want to make sure that was the case before I even gave any consideration to doing the building. Because if you're dealing with a situation where you can be ousted on 90-day notice, what are you going to do with that building on a 90-day notice? Can you move it? Where are you going to move it? Can you afford to move it? Can you tear it down and have it moved? Or do you have to just walk away from it?
Yeah, they give you 2 acres back where it's at. You still need an easement by necessity with that.
Yeah, that's got to be an easement to get there, but that could come.
Well,
That's not good.
Just saying, now, we need to get back to the building and ownership.
Because, I mean, we're all from this county. DNR and the coal companies, Peabody in particular, they both got a little bit of leverage on each other. We don't have any of that. So we just better make sure what we're buying. That's all I'm saying.
You know, my position, if we could get some real estate with it, so we wouldn't have to fool with leases of any kind.
Did Mansell suggest that they were willing to give
Yes,
us?
Mansell said that he would negotiate with the county on what was,
But when it comes to leasing this to other parties, I'd be very opposed to anybody besides the county entities being out there.
So outside of tourism, what county entity would you have out there?
I don't know.
I'd be more interested to know what they're buying. They ain't selling anything, they ain't giving you nothing.
So gentlemen? Kenny?
I think we need a little more information on it.
Yeah.
well,
Than what we got.
I suggest you know, that you talk to Mark Reeder and Mansell.
You know Manson?
I have no
You
idea.
never met him?
I know him, I'll call him.
You know him?
I think that's a big issue. How much land are they willing to give?
I think I'll call him tonight.
You ain't got his number, let me know. I'll give it to
All
you.
right.
I have it also, you can call me.
Before you go talk to them, though, it'd be nice if whoever's gonna talk to them would have enough information as to what the county council would agree to do, or what they would require. But when they're kind of blind, that might help a little bit on getting things.
Well, the
figured
problem
out.
of it is the county council can't do that because if they say they're gonna give us the land, that's one thing. If we gotta pay for it, we'll have to have it appraised, get 2 or 3 appraisals, and then we can only pay the average of that appraisal. So therein lies, am I not right, Don?
Yeah, we'll make it a condition of the next road closure.
Well, when I
We just can't, we're not like a public person, they can do whatever they want.
When I first heard that the building had been abandoned by DNR, which they just left it, it's sitting out
They
there.
moved everything down to Goose Park.
I thought Mansell owned the building, I thought Peabody owned the building, so I asked him. And he said, I'm all in favor of giving things back to the county, and he says, and I would be more than willing to work on that project and see that the county got it to use for public use. And he says, but we don't own the building, you have to ask DNR. So we moved on to DNR, but at that time he told me, and he also told Deanne at another time, that the amount of land we got would have to be negotiated with him, but he was in favor of giving it to us at that time.
That'd be great. Changes the whole story.
We'll call him up and we'll tell him we'll draft the deed.
That offers nothing.
Now, that will be different with DNR, because they want the salvage amount of the money out of there. But I think you could even negotiate with them some too.
DNR wants the salvage value of the building.
There's no way that building worth $5,000 salvage, is it?
I don't think so, but that's what they're
Yeah,
doing.
and that's another problem. I don't know if we can just up and write a check for $5,000 without getting any appraised and going that way. Do you, John?
Wouldn't they have to get an appraisal, us, and then?
Well,
Since they're a state agency, they can transfer ownership to us with no problem.
yes, because you have intergovernmental exchanges.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter what it appraises for. It is that one governmental entity, the state, DNR in this case, can deed it to another governmental entity.
With no money transferred.
Right,
Right.
yeah. It's called an intergovernmental exchange, and both agencies have to basically.
Or if it's a
adopt the same
nonprofit, they can transfer it
resolution.
that way.
But if they're wanting to sell it to us, then doesn't there have to be an appraisal?
Then that's a little bit different situation. Yes.
I don't think the DNR would be nice enough to give it to us.
Because what do you think the salvage value is?
It's not $5,000.
$1,000?
I wouldn't say
I
more
wouldn't
about
either.
1,500.
I wouldn't want it.
You'd think the tear down cost would be greater.
That's what I was
than the-
thinking too, even moving it, you couldn't afford to move it.
Is it on city water?
It's on Pleasantville Water.
Pleasantville Water.
On the end of the line for
It's on a
Pleasantville.
septic tank.
Yes.
It's on septic
tank.
tank.
And they have a lot of trouble with the septic system.
Oh, my.
and they have a lot of trouble with the beavers down in that area, that lake. My nephew traps her every winter, because they just, the beaver are terrible down through there.
That's the
Well, you want-
DNR, that's the DNR's lake, right?
Want Tim to
Peabody,
get-
yeah.
Peabody
Want
will-
Tim to get a little
DNR
more
has-
information, is that what you guys wanna do?
I'd say get some more. My first question, when I was out there, was could we get the whole lake? I mean, there's like 30 acres of water there, you know, then maybe you could develop something into that, or turn over the Parkin Lake or something,
I
but,
don't know how far that lake goes back, because Elton Dunford owns, but he own that next, don't he own the rest of that lake?
He owns the rest of it.
He owns around
All the
that
way
church.
Back of that
Everything
church.
behind that church and back
Behind
in.
that church,
Yeah.
yeah. He bought all that ground behind that
So
church.
you gonna make a call and get
I'll
pointed?
talk to him.
Okay, we'll just table that issue for right now and let Tim get us some more information. We'll see what we got.
If we're selling it, we gotta go through a whole different process. Or you do. If they'll give it to us, it's one thing.
I think you can certainly lobby to have to be given that.
they could give us the whole lake.
I gave you a copy of this tourism plan.
Dwayne, before you adjourn, I've got one.
Oh, we got more stuff here, go ahead. You got something else?
Yeah, we do.
Last February or March, Tim and I came before you to talk about this idea of the county acquiring some of the tax sale properties that don't sell at tax sale and doing something with it. You guys wanted me to do 10 or 12 on a kind of a trial basis to see how it went.
10 of them.
Well, I've now got 15. Every time I have 10, someone comes along with, well, the town of Primera wants this one, whatever. So at any rate, I've done 14. We're getting ready to file the petitions for the tax title deeds for all of them. All the abstract has been run. We'll be filing them this week. We have to serve notice to the people or mortgage companies that last had an interest. And then after 30 days, we can get an order from the court directing the auditor to issue a tax title deed to the county. It's been a slow go, and that's been primarily because of me, because I just had so much stuff to do. But we finally got it all ready to go. I know Brian Pound thinks that there's more than 100 of these types of properties in the county. I don't know, I've never counted. But it only applies to counties that have been through 2 or more tax sales and have not sold. Now, the difference is this, like October 5th, they had a tax sale here, Soul County property at the tax sale. If you bought that property at the tax sale, you had to pay what the delinquent taxes were, and you got a tax sale certificate. And after a period of 1 year runs, and the former owner doesn't redeem it, then you can file your petition for a tax title deed, and the judge will order Brenda to give that person a deed, a tax title deed for the property. That wipes out any judgments, liens, encumbrances against the property, but it doesn't wipe out the taxes. All these pieces of property are properties that have been through 2 or more tax sales. That's the requirement under the statute. They have to have been through at least 2 or more and not sold. And the reasons are the delinquent property taxes are much, much greater than what the property's worth. Or there's one, for example, we're doing that has $7,700 of back taxes. It's a small lot with a dilapidated house on it. Somebody's gonna have to spend $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 to knock down the house and haul it off. Nobody's gonna buy that property. It's gonna sit there in limbo forever. But doing it the way we're doing it is when the county acquires this property, like we're getting ready to acquire the title to these 14 pieces of property, not only are the mortgages, judgments, and liens wiped out, but the taxes themselves, the back taxes, are wiped out. In fact, you execute a certificate of error just like you do another case, and the back taxes are wiped out. That's what brings them down to where people can buy them. And for example, with the 14 that I've got right now, the average cost, the average cost that the county has involved with each piece of property is $700. Now, we'll have to publish those in the newspaper, and whatever it takes to publish a paper divided by 14 tracts, maybe $25 each or whatever, will have to be added on to that $700. But basically what I'm saying is that all those pieces of property, the county's gonna have the tax title deed. We're gonna get that in about a month. And then we're gonna turn around and have an auction, just like you would like Johnny's Walls or anyone else, have an auction and sell it. And all we do is require that the minimum bid be what the county's out of pocket, the $700 or $725. And so that's what's coming. We talked to you guys about it last year, and it's coming up here in the next 2 months. I look to have it, this property sold in December sometime. But what I have gotten is a lot of comments from the various town boards in the county, other individuals who are interested in pieces of property. Usually it's their next door property that they want to acquire. That I really think we need to consider an ongoing systematic program of taking these properties that have been through multiple tax sales and not sold and doing it to them too. Because not only are we going to get back the money that we're out of pocket on up to $700 or $725 when we sell it, but then it's going back on the tax rolls under somebody's name and you're going to collect taxes on it. So I just want you guys to think about this. You know, it would be.
So you want us to raise the limit?
I'm sorry?
You want us to raise the limit on how many you can do?
Yeah, what I'm asking you for is basically your guidance, a policy set by the council that we literally go after all the properties that have been through 2 or more tax sales and haven't sold.
How many does Brian think there is?
He thinks there's well over 100.
It says 700 got your cost in it.
Yes,
Total.
it has abstract, attorney's fees,
Okay.
everything in it except the newspaper
Would
publication.
you auction them off as is, though?
Oh, yes, yeah. As
So-
the only thing we have to really be careful about is we don't acquire something with a bad environmental problem and we be on the hook for something like
But
that.
what would keep somebody from buying it and saying, well, I own this lot for 700, and then leaving the old junky house there the way it is?
They're gonna be paying
They're
taxes.
gonna be paying taxes, yes. Yeah.
But isn't there more to it than just the taxes? Isn't it to eliminate the unsightly property?
We're hoping
Well-
that the people that buy, we're gonna stress that the one of the reasons that we put this package together is try to help clean up.
Yeah, I think
this
that'd be a
community.
good deal.
But I mean, as far as being able to demand somebody clean it up, or not, but if you know, a lot of those properties, is in that situation.
If they can buy it for $700, they'll certainly clean it up, won't they?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can afford to do it, but if they have to pay $7,700 to acquire it, pay up the back taxes, they ain't gonna do that.
I'll make a motion, we open it up to however many they can get their hands on.
Get 'em. We need
Because
to
I honestly think this will take 2 to 3 years and basically just be almost a full-time job for a person working on that.
And the reason why I agree totally with him, you know, I talked about this before. 50 years ago, you could come to Sullivan and you could go to each corner of the square, the bank, and you could walk a process through and clean up the paperwork on a piece of property and get it to where somebody could get a hold of it and get it cleaned up. And today, these banks that's tied these lots up, they're not even in the state of Indiana.
We'll make a motion.
They got
I was
the
thinking-
money and they walked away from it.
They walk away from it.
Where are you paying this $700 at this point? I mean, he's not eating all this.
It's just out of the county general fund.
Okay, so when you sell it, you're gonna put it back in there.
Now, this would be countywide, every
Yes.
incorporated town, everything?
Everywhere in the
Every-
county. In
like-
fact, there's one lot up at Farmersburg that the member of the town board wants. There's one lot in Hymera, the town of Hymera wants. And they're all designed, they all want to.
Now, when you say auction, are you actually talking just a sealed bid?
No, I'm talking about a public auction.
So
We
who's gonna
stand
pay
up
the auctioneer?
here.
I'll
Is that
do
gonna be
it,
on top of it?
or Johnny Swallows, no, I'll do it, or Johnny
You can do
Swallows, or
it
whatever.
Like they do farm ground anymore, it's 700 plus
Yeah.
6% or something,
And we-
you know, where.
I mean, we're not going, my question,
Where
we're not
we buy-
going to incur any more cost for the offer.
No, absolutely
You're
not.
talking about covering everything.
Like a buyer's premium.
Yeah, you can put a buyer's
And we're, no,
premium.
we're just gonna, I'll do it, I will have a scheduled meeting, I'll stand up to $725 is the minimum bid on any of these properties, everything below that'll be rejected. And whoever wants to buy it for that amount, fine and dandy, but if the next guy wants to bid on it and run the price up, that's fine.
Is that the rule though? It has to go through two
Yes,
tax
it
sales?
has to have been through two or more tax sales.
So you don't have to beat the John Doe out there trying to make a buck. He's got 2 chances to get it.
Yes.
I can
Plus
get a
it
deal.
comes-
How many a year do you think you'll be able to sell and do?
As many as we.
Say if there's 100, how many, you've done 14, it's took you all year?
Yeah, yes, and that's the bad part, and that's why I want the support of the council in engaging in a systematic program to do this. Because with just me doing it, I can't afford to hire someone to do it. I've just gotta do it on my free time whenever I have a little free time to work on things. That's the bad thing about me having to do all the paperwork, is I can just work on it as I can with other things. But if the council will engage a systematic program to do that, I'm gonna hire someone who's gonna work on this every day. So you asked me how many we could do, I don't know why we couldn't do 30 or 40 at least a year, a couple times a year, when we have the deeds for say 15 or 20, we'd have an auction and get it sold.
But the most important thing is, if I took him a year to do 14, we'll say, well, we've got property out there that hadn't paid taxes for that long.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna do $700 on each one of them properties too.
Huh? Well, the other fellow's gonna pay that, you know.
The
You're
county,
assuming you're gonna sell.
Some of them you might get more than 7.
Yeah, we're,
Well, we're hoping.
yes.
and
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. That's all. Any further discussion? Let's move forward here. All in favor?
Thank you, fellas. I think that's a big one.
getting to work on it. Yeah, I don't see how we can lose, because the money the county's spending out for things is a wash. They'll
So,
get back.
so if it doesn't sell at the
You won't-
auction after we own it, then what do you do?
Then you can sell it by any means. Someone walk up, wanna buy it, you can.
Sell it at the next auction.
Yeah. you can do that.
Larry takes the first 10 and don't sell.
Well, I don't. The bottom line is to get them cleaned up, and I know just right in any small town, you're gonna see, you see all
And
kinds
just to
of them.
get them cleaned up will help the whole.
But how are we going to determine if there's any hazardous waste on this
I'm
property?
sorry.
How are we going to determine if there's any hazardous waste on this property?
Well, we're just, as we select these properties to go after, we're just gonna have to take a look and make
Stay
sure
away
we
from
don't
filling
do that.
Yeah, so
Couldn't
no
you
guess.
get somebody-
Stay away from filling
Yeah,
stations.
the
Couldn't you
filling station, anything to fuel tanks, but there is a process too, and I haven't even touched on this issue, but if you do have some that has some waste problem, there are ways to proceed for brownfield grants to do that, but I don't know that the county per se wants to get
Mostly
into
houses.
that part of it. Most of them are houses or empty lots.
Judy?
You can get, you maybe, I know it'll run your cost up, but you could get somebody to go do a phase 1 environmental on those for whatever amount of money that is, and then just give that report. If they see something that they think is bad, then that will be in the report.
Now, a lot of these houses may have asbestos siding.
But if they're homeowners, they're exempt to get rid of that, I think.
But counties aren't.
County won't be. But there is also out there what's called a blanket brownfield grant, that when Tim Bowles was mayor, he looked into that. And it's a blanket grant, you list so many potential properties, and that grant will come in and clean those all up for you. And that comes out about once a year.
Okay.
To me, it's a program the county can't lose on. You're gonna get your money back in the span of just a few months until you have a sale, and thereafter it's gonna be on the tax
I
roll.
wish I'd never taught you any logic. You're trying to convince me, aren't you? I hadn't told you so much logic.
He had me in school, Kim, and he taught me all that. Well, it was physics, it was
Right.
logic.
Is that
Okay,
we're gonna vote?
thanks, fellas. See y'all later.
That's all in favor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Brian voted too.
Okay, Sullivan County Sheriff, we got, he's apparently out of gas, oil, and lube, imagine that. Anyway, he's got 3 categories of $5,000, one's from jail budget to meals, from meals to gas and oil. He's got another one from medical to gas and oil, and the other one is building and structures to gas and oil.
All these is transfers,
They're all transferred to,
get the other
the
transfers.
gas and oil, yeah, I got more. Okay, and then, we got one, the Sullivan County Sheriff request transfer of funds within the jail budget as follows. $3,000 from building and structure to, new equipment to make lease payment on a Chevy Caprices. So, surely that lease payment was more than $3,000. Anyway, that's what he's got. And then tourism has got a transfer here. They want to move $3,000 from promotion account from promotion account. That don't make sense. Travel. They want travel. Yeah, $4,000. They'd like to transfer $3,000 from this account to their promotion.
They
So
want travel, put it where now?
they want it put into their promotion.
From travel.
Yeah.
From travel, okay.
So that's all I've got, unless you've got some more.
Make a motion.
Come on, I'll make a motion.
Hey, Sauter made it, come on.
Okay.
Sauter made it.
I'll second.
You're second. Knock the senior citizen out here.
No. I get a pay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, we got them taken care of. I guess in new business, we need to be knowing that we have an appointment. We always have trouble getting after the first year for the Park and Lake Board. Our Republican appointment is up at the end of this year. We'll make a new one. We always have trouble getting a Republican one. Doesn't seem like too many of them are interested, but we need to be.
What other appointments we got?
Huh?
What other appointments we got?
I think that's the only one we got outside of within ourselves. I don't think.
I think.
Well, you know, we got the ones for West Central and everything. Or somebody has, election, you know, this year. It may not be me.
Right.
She has some more additional appropriations I didn't know she had.
Huh?
She's got some more appropriations I didn't know she had.
Okay.
Didn't Leahy our appointment?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. See, he got a waiver. Because he voted Democrat and Bill Springer gave him a waiver. We didn't appoint him the first go around. Because we couldn't. Because he wasn't the right policy.
Okay, I'm not, it don't have to be done.
We'll have our appointment to the alcohol beverage commission, won't we?
Yeah, we have the beverage, alcoholic beverage every year, and we may have to issue that because
I appreciate it, thanks, sir.
Max isn't very good.
I thought they were coming in. I think he'd like to stay on though, just to keep having something.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if he's able.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we appoint him or did we appoint Dick Crow?
Let's see, here's our appointments. We got
appointed Matt. We appointed
redevelopment.
Matt.
We'll have to do a redevelopment. We got recycling, which is from the board, 4-H councils from the board, alcohol beverage, Park and Lake, West Central. Right now it's Tim Garrett and Brian Pounds. Emergency management. We got one appointment there, and ours is Tim, and Tim's going off, so we'll have that one to make within. Succeeds Rick. Redevelopment advisory is Rick, Dwayne, and Larry at this point. Insurance committee, that's myself and Larry.
I think any of those people that we appoint outside of our own self,
Yeah.
we ought to get a list of them so that.
Got a motion? Second by Kenny.
Okay,
All in
there's
favor?
three of them.
All in favor?
Who seconded, please?
Kenny?
There was some that was already approved before part of them. You just need signature.
I want last month, so. Oh, I got
Good,
it.
Mr. Ben, it's all right.
Keep that for the meeting. Well,
I've got one somewhere. We already got it. This is Marco's. Yeah, this is the one that we've got.
I did, who was it first?
Just a lot. Yeah, 68. Oh, 68. Hey, Kenny,
Yeah.
there are 2 pages here, need to be signed.
Oh.
You can sign one.
you didn't get the second one. Did Larry get the second one?
No, we didn't.
I did. I did on that side.
We need to sign this before.
Yeah.
We missed it, didn't we? We missed one here, guys.
Sorry, you did Mark Gay or never that.
Yay. Get them all in? Okay.
Okay, on the agenda here, I think we're gonna drop down from the new business and old business and the open issues. Start with the ones that are listed. I think that's gonna cover most of the new and
Yeah.
old business. First one's Park and Lake, Tom Leahy.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
You
Did you-
need to come up here.
Did you guys want to discuss something before? I just want a couple points of clarification. Because this can be done, simple question answer. You'll have to excuse my tire because I've been enjoying some vacation. Second firewood all day. 2 points I'd like to address regarding the Park and Lake. Number one would be our budget for 2013. We got a copy from, or a copy that had been changed from Diana, what was it, a week or two ago? And you'll have to excuse my ignorance of how this whole process takes place, because the last time we met helped me a great deal. And I can't speak for what has happened in the past with other park board members, but I want to try to be a little bit more proactively involved and understand how this process goes so I can obviously prepare myself. But I was on the impression at our last budget hearing that we had reached an agreement, and I understand that we had not, and some additional cuts were made. But I would just like to clarify exactly how that process takes place. And number one, I would like to respectfully request that perhaps in the future, that the Park and Lake Board be included in that process. Dollar amount wise, I think the total amount that I had a very lengthy conversation with Diane, probably an hour and a half. The total dollar amount I don't think bothered the board as much as the fact that it was done without any of the board giving some consideration to that. Because I think ultimately we may have a solution or proposed solution that would have taken care of that additional $25,000 in salaries and wage schedule. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, when you was in here for your budget,
Yes, sir.
we went through all your line items and we told you we was doing the salaries. We had set what we was gonna do on full-time and part-time.
Right.
But that wasn't done on your budget at that time. We had to do it afterwards because we had to feel our way through the way you guys put all your part-time and everything here, there, and yonder.
Right.
And so the only thing we could do, we told Diane, we instructed her to go through that budget for this year and see where you'd put all the part-time money in different areas and how much. And that's the only way we could come up with a figure to put into the part-time labor, and then we knew how many full-times you had, and they got to 750.
Right.
But that wasn't done the day you was in here.
Right.
Everything on your budget was done except for that. So the only changes, and there was no way that total salary thing was gonna stay in there, was where you had it, even though you cut all the other stuff. I mean, it was gonna be in line with the rest of the county employees.
With as far as the wage schedule, I don't think we had an issue there.
Let me make two things here, Tom, so it makes it simple. Every office holder came into it, be it Earl or whoever, we don't do anything with wages until we took every line out, then we go back and we set the salary.
Yes.
And then we cut that.
Right.
Okay, and that's what we do with you, all right?
I understand the wages.
You didn't lose anything, because if the money's there come January,
I understand.
and you got need for it, we didn't take it away from you.
Right.
We didn't give you authority to spend any more than.
Right, I understand, you made that clarification last time, that helps.
Right.
But as long as that does apply to salaries and wage schedules. I don't
Absolutely.
think we had an issue overall with adjusting the wages pursuant to a salary schedule. What ultimately we would like to have addressed was the number of hours that we're putting forth each one of those seasonal or intermittent employees.
But that's.
It wasn't done over an average of the last 2 or 3
You come back
years.
in January, February, and as we told you before, your money is soft money.
Right, I understand.
Meaning
Okay.
that if it's there, you get spent it, if it's not there, you don't get spent it. And, you can come back in January, February, and if you've got a need, and I think you've been there before, Steve, and we tried to
Right.
address it if the money was there.
The estimates in putting a certain number of hours in those 4 different classifications or 5 different classifications were on the low end, and they were done over a 2 or 3 year period of time. It was basically done for, 2012, which,
2012.
yeah,
That's
which
right.
we're not finished with.
That's, we was working with 2012, going to 2013 on everybody.
I understand.
Okay.
But as far as the number of hours, that's the only thing we have. And we would like to at least be involved in that process so we could explain, this is how we use the number of hours for this is how we use the number of hours in this category, and this is when we use the bulk of these hours, and this is how we come up with this.
So I think next,
Does that make sense?
if you have it on those line items, like we got them now, with your full-time.
That's gonna help. And I made the same
With the
comment.
full-time spread out, I think if,
Because
part-time,
Diane,
it's not a big issue.
Yeah, the
They came up
lack
with
of
a schedule.
classification, it hurts. You talk about one particular classification and you're talking 15 different employees,
Right.
that's gonna help.
Yeah, we was,
Well, once you've
they
got the
come up
money-
with a plan to get that all separated out, so it's easier for them to do payroll and everything. And that'll help in the future.
I agree, as long as, and I'd like to make this request respectfully.
But I
I'd just
really,
like to be able to sit down, at least some are part of the board. The previous park board administrations, I can't speak for them, and they didn't want to be involved in it, then so be it. But I think most of us would like to take a proactive approach, at least be involved in the decision-making to make those cuts in the number of hours. That's all.
but in all due respect to our auditor and her first deputy, I think from the way the Sullivan paper put it, and apparently what you said to them, made it sound like they did it. We instructed them to do what they did. And I think the park
Diana made
board
that
or you
very
or
clear.
somebody owes them an apology.
Oh, sure,
Because
apology.
it made them, it made
Cut
them,
anything.
but, you know, it made them look like,
They presented their spreadsheet to us last month, and we said go for it.
yeah.
I understand. Well,
But the money's not lost.
I know what I told, I didn't tell the newspaper or anything, this was mentioned at park board meeting, and we can play back the tape if
Well, that's
if
fine,
need
but I
be.
mean-
But I didn't hang the auditor's office out there.
Well,
I
it
said,
made it sound like
these cuts were made by them, she told me they were at the direction of
Of
council.
us. The
But
council.
my point was, it would have been nice to get a phone call or something from you folks saying, we need to cut this, we need to adjust this. And I guess I got 4 other board members that asked me about this. I said, I don't know. That's why I made the appointment to go and
Well, I
talk to
think
him.
Jimmy knows we always did salaries and
We did, Dwayne, but I agree with Tom because the thing is, we're not pushing it off on the county auditor. I mean, hell, I dealt with him for 10 or 12 years.
But the public, when they read the paper, it sounded like the auditor cut.
Well, here's the problem though, Brenda. When you guys was instructed, who would know better than Steve Hinesley as our superintendent and the board that represent the park and lake on a daily basis? And we're out there, we know where we need to put the hours at better than you guys do. I mean, okay, we got the money there, and I agree with Rick. We'll know where we're gonna be in January. I understand that. I mean, Dwayne's on our nose. I serve with these guys.
We
All
were
correctable,
saying-
but we got it in now where you guys now know that if you need more part-time labor next summer, all you gotta do is come in, if the money's there, fine.
It may not be till mid-season.
Come in anytime during the year.
As
See,
long as it
we
applies
didn't
to
ever do it like that
salaries, which
before.
I didn't know it applied.
Once we said it, Dwayne, when I sat on board with you guys, once we said it, it was there. Then it was up to us as park board or park board at that time to put the hours where they needed. We knew where the money was gonna be if it was $200,000. And if you remember, we tell Jerry Ring and Ron Stanley, you guys know, you put them in the hours where you need them with your labor. We don't know, but this is what all you're gonna be able to spend. You put it where you need it.
And we tried to put that same thing according to what we did the pay raises on, Jim.
And I understand that.
Okay, that's what, and the only thing we had to go on was what had been done this year, up to this point. And we took that on out to the end of the year, hopefully it would be about the same hours per month.
I don't
might have
think
been
it was,
less. You probably got the benefit of the doubt.
No, I
No,
think,
sir, we
no, we
don't.
didn't.
We don't. I think
Well, that's your
a good
opinion,
point.
that's mine.
We lost a lot of hours.
I respect that. I don't wanna argue the.
Am I right? We lost a lot of hours on the
Well, I think
part-time.
we belabor something that can be corrected if you need it corrected, come any month next year,
Okay.
if the money's there. That's it.
I wanted to clarify that we could still come back and ask for even those line items and wages and salaries. Because we may have another banner year like we experienced this year, and we'd have to put forth X number of hours, which could very easily exceed
If
that.
that happens, and the money's in the
Okay.
bank,
You got the
you got
income.
liability.
Rick, we don't wanna go back like it was when us three was on it, because I'd go to the park board back then and we'd give them 80,000 to 100,000 now tax dollars, right, Dwayne? And I'd go out there and they'd say, well, you're not giving us no extra money. Well, we was. So we don't wanna go back there. We wanna stay, self-supporting.
Nothing's lost.
Yeah, okay. Well, and we did this, as we typically do every month. And we did a revenue assessment, and our revenue up till the 22nd of October, and you're welcome to see this, just to let you guys know, we're up a little more than, about $64,000 ahead of where we were in 2011, which puts us just under $1 million in total revenue for 2012.
And your budget for next year is 900-some thousand.
Yeah, 930 something. We're good there. We just wanted to make sure that we could adjust those to the seasonal things, which brings me to a second point. And I've talked to some of you to try to get your feel on how you guys want to do this, but we've got a separate line item, and I tried to get this clarified with Diane. And I'm not a numbers person, but our unemployment that we typically ask for every year is a static number. And right now it's 25,000. And if I'm not mistaken, at least the last 2 years, we have exceeded that $25,000 limit. So what we would like to do, and I think we discussed this as a board, and we would like to approach this from the avenue of a seasonal employer. After discussing with a number of people, nobody could really give me a definition about what a seasonal employee was. But truly, the only thing the only person or entity that can truly define what a seasonal employee is the Division of Workforce Development, DWD. And I've got a copy of their manual here. And we think we fit within that qualification. There's three different three different criteria for qualifying as a seasonal employer. What a seasonal employer basically does, if you qualify as a seasonal employer with three different criteria, then you're eligible to pay those people, but the employer is not obligated to pay them unemployment benefits because of the fact that they are seasonal employees.
Good luck.
I'm throwing this out, okay? As we've discussed it.
You ever been to an unemployment hearing?
At a what?
An unemployment hearing?
That's the second issue.
Have you ever been there?
We've never been able to afford the opportunity to be there.
I have been, and you'll lose.
Okay.
Right? Right?
I've talked to a couple of you, not Jim's not here, because I know there's a couple of you that have had some experiences, some good, some where they win those hearings and some they don't. We understand that when it comes down to those hearings, it's a crapshoot, okay? But be that as it may, most of the employees that we have that are now classified can truly be classified as seasonal because we have an established season. Their employment starts on March 1st and ends no later than November 1st-ish.
I'm all for it. You can get it pulled off. I've tried that.
You've tried the application?
Yeah, I've tried to do this in my former employment. It was very difficult to do.
Okay. We made that application last year.
The problem is, if they go work somewhere else, that employee you let go goes work somewhere else.
Yes.
And they go to look back on unemployment.
Yes.
They look at everybody that they ever worked for, including you, and they don't distinguish that. That's the problem.
And is it going to affect the? Here's just a printout of the number of people that collected.
We know. We get that every month.
Okay. These are just Park and Lake employees.
We know. We get it every month.
All right. Well, we think there's a way we could at least try to circumvent some of this because we're paying these people 12 months out of the year and they're working 8 months out of the year. So if we're paying 12 months out of the year, okay, we're working 8 months out of the year.
I had people who coached for me, like an assistant coach for property. Okay? They go file for unemployment. You pay your share of it. Now you say that's not seasonal?
As long as, well, once again, what your definition of seasonal is not mine. Nobody knows what seasonal is.
Unemployment people are very harsh about that.
Okay, DWD, we've already talked to DWD. We made an application last year, okay? The application was not approved because we didn't clarify, and they had some issues with the employees being classified in different line items, like what we hope is taken care of. But now that we've done that, we've talked to DWD and we explained our situation. This is what we got. We're working from here to here. It's a 26-week work period. We're open more than 26 weeks. However, we explained to them we could use them in a 26-week work period. We have them sign a stipulation. Your work date starts here, your work date ends here. We know we can't promise you employment outside of these because you are seasonal. And they sign that stipulation. We work them for the 26 weeks. We hire somebody else to finish out the latter part of the 26 weeks.
Admirable you try. I don't know if you will.
Well, we've given them our situation, and they said it's certainly within the realms of being approved. The only kicker is, Rick, we have to apply in the name of Sullivan County. We can't just do it on our own. So we're here to. The
commissioner has to do that.
We felt it would be in our best interest to have the county fiscal body folks approve it and then take it to the commission. All right?
Who does it, John? Treasurer or?
I'm sorry, what?
Treasurer or commissioners, who does this?
Does what?
Applies this letter.
Applies for a seasonal determination at DW Division of Workforce as a seasonal employer.
I haven't got a clue. Probably the auditor as the paying agent for the county.
It has to be done in the, and we got approval to make the application 2 years ago. And I think we got it from both the county and, or the council and the commissioners. We would like to ask the same thing, because I don't think it was, the different classifications now surely help us, and we can more accurately define what those job descriptions are, which we didn't have before. And I think we've got an opportunity. I think we can save some. We're gonna catch it all. No.
I'll make a motion that the council allow whoever the legal sanctioning body is, be it auditor or the commissioner, sign the affidavit for seasonal employment.
Got a motion, got a second?
I'll second.
Second by Larry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Go
Okay.
for it. Good luck.
Put that down in the meeting minutes. Good luck.
Parentheses around that.
Please.
Underline.
Once we complete the applications, if for whatever reason only requires one signature, so would you prefer we bring it here, or would you prefer to bring it to the?
I think it's the board commissioner president.
The commissioners are the executive body of the county, and the auditor is by law, by state statute, their secretary.
Right.
So, and of course, by law also is the paying agent for the county as well. So, yeah, I mean, we can get it done either through the commissioners or the auditor.
Okay, as long as you're clear, we'll take it to commissioners once the application is done.
But
You guys are good with that? Okay? All right, thank you.
how's the house going?
It's doing well.
They're gonna invite you guys out here.
You living in it?
Yeah,
Are you living in it?
yeah, I'd say it's probably 75% done. Yep, better than living in the garage. I was in the garage 3 weeks ago. I moved in. I do have one other question. If somebody does apply for unemployment from the Park and Lake, is there a way that we can be notified at the Park and Lake of who is applying for unemployment?
I assume that you get notified this
We get
But-
sheets just like.
We'd like the option to make that appeal
You
if we
get the
choose it
sheets
necessary.
just like.
But do we get when I was assumed that we used to get a notification something like file before there was any money transferred. You get that, so you can make a copy of that and send it that way.
Because there, we do have a 10-day period that we can revoke the unemployment.
We can put it in your
We-
box and if you check
We
it,
have,
it's every day.
That'd be good.
As long as we get the notification, it gives us that, you know.
I've talked to many people who tried to fight this throughout the last 10 years. Now, once you get your seasonal classification, you might win, but I don't think you win until then.
Well, I'm-
Is that a good statement? John?
What I'm concerned about is when people quit, just, they do not show up for work and quit.
Good luck.
Yeah, okay.
I've been that route too.
Okay.
However,
I
they
don't
have to.
understand it, but I would like to try to understand it more, why that's.
The working conditions were unbearable.
And that is the only exception, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, county ambulance, Kenny Bogard. How you doing, Kenny?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm not for sure why I'm here, but I got an idea.
Well, just got the financial statement
Sure.
here. I haven't had a chance to study it here.
We already get it.
The year-to-date total. Overall, I don't think there needs to be
Hey, Kenny,
solvent.
one of our issues, and I run the numbers since Dwayne, you started off the year with 150,000, approximately. We didn't go look it up, it was 150,000, wasn't it? Something like that,
Yeah, I think so.
carryover. And so, and then you had an overpayment from your payer of
91,000.
90,000, 91. So we're estimating these numbers because I didn't know the exact numbers.
I-
So
I
with
mean,
those, with the 150 taken out and with the 90 taken out, through 10 months, you've generated $630,000 worth of revenue. approximately,
Yeah.
give or take. 10 months, that's 63,000 a month, 12 months, if you continue this, you'll do it at 656, okay? And you've got a budget this year of 906.
But that was cut down to,
Well, but the initially it was 906,
yeah,
right?
right.
So your revenue is gonna be 150,000 short of what we thought it was gonna be,
Yeah.
okay? And that was our concern, that you were aware. Now, there are some things that gotta happen. Right now, you're in the negative, you're 15,000 in the red today,
Yep.
okay? But we gotta clarify this deal with the ambulance,
Right.
which,
We may get 20,000 back, right?
Well, you got 20,000 in your edit.
you'll get the 21,000 from the edit, and then she also paid it all out of your funds.
He
okay?
paid it all out of
So, based upon that memo that we got here, it looks like we were supposed to pay 21,000 out of edit, and then you were to pay 70 something out of your funds. No, 50 something out of your funds?
57.
57.
57 from his funds.
So, what was the total payment for that ambulance? As it went to-
172.
Without the trade, it was 172
172,000.
even?
I
That,
believe so.
we had a trade, but was it 172 without?
172 was with the trade.
Yeah.
That was with the trade.
Yeah, I thought trade was
178.
Yeah.
178.
Do you have your report that I gave you last week?
That's mine, it's 178.
Yeah.
So 178,000, take off 21, take off 59, it'd be 80,000. So the county was gonna loan you guys about $100,000.
I got some real numbers for you.
Okay. What's the real number?
The real number on the gallon forward was 156,977.95. So
That's worse than ever.
156,9. That's carryover.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I'm
That
sorry.
was carryover from last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Is all with the overpayment? 91,000, something like that.
Do you have your expenditures, Kenny? Do you have the expenditure sheet? You just have your receipts here.
I think my numbers are close enough
No, I didn't get that.
for the argument where we're at. My numbers are close enough for where
Right,
we're at.
yes, yes.
So you're gonna correct, you're gonna give them back another $100,000.
91,9, something there's the purchase, 178,89.
But you're gonna give them back approximately $100,000 that we're gonna loan to them.
Yes,
So instead of being in the red today, they could be $85,000 in the black
yes.
with 2 months to go,
And Kenny and I discussed that.
okay? And our concern is that we don't carry it away with expenditures the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because if you only take in 63 and 63, you got 85, what is that? It'd be 140, and it'd be about $225,000 for the rest of the year, for 2 months. And you have spent, you're spending about 60 grand a month. So if you continue that pattern for 2 more months, you might not be in too bad. You'll be down to 120,000 a year. But you gotta continue with that, about that 60,000 a month.
I think our spending will go down. Robin's doing a great job as far as purchasing supplies, and our maintenance issues should be down till we new trucks. And like, one thing to you, just kind of free to look at them. Now, this top circle is how much we've charged for the year, and then that other circle is what we brought in this month.
Your revenue just brought up a little bit.
Yeah, 72,193.
It's in my report here, so when you average it out, 63,000 a
Yeah.
month, equals that.
So I think our income will be actually increasing a little bit. And we looked at the numbers, and these are our runs per month. And you can see over the past years, the runs per month and then the billable runs per month.
Well, my issue, if the city does the red X, as they probably are going to, what's that gonna do to your runs?
You're gonna lose out on a lot of 41.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt
Calls,
us. I
aren't
mean, whenever the city took over initially, you know, I figured we lose 30% of our revenue, which I think we did,
You lost
30%,
about 35.
35. And then, I mean, we're gonna lose more, but we're looking at ways to increase revenue too. I mean, we've got 2 call teams, we're talking about getting rid of one of the call teams, which will save us $34,000 a year. So we're looking at ways to save money, and we're talking to different nursing homes about getting dialysis patients back. I mean, if you look at those runs, we was averaging 250 runs a month, and now we're down to 162 runs a month. We're losing dialysis patients first, you know. So we're looking at ways to bring money back. And we figure that if we get 15 runs a month more than what we're averaging now, it's going to upgrade.
Well, how is the new ambulance doing?
It's doing good. I mean, it's
So how many ambulances you got? 3?
got 3.
What are you gonna do with the old junker? You're not sure how to fix that, right?
Well, I mean, my opinion is just to trade it off and get rid of it. I mean, I don't think there's any need to put a motor in it. I mean, myself. I don't know what
If you're
Tim
gonna
thinks
lose
about
another
it.
10 or 15% of your calls, well, you might as well get rid of it. 3 ambulances is gonna do you. And you got 3 good ones.
Yeah, because we got to stock it and supply it and, you know, we got to store it.
So that's an issue the commission's gonna deal with. That's all I had, Kenny, just wanted you to,
Okay.
we just wanted you to understand where you're at,
Yeah.
not to lecture you, and just to let you know where you're at.
I did
3 or 4
not.
years back, you was running 70 to 80,000 of expenses a month.
Yeah.
So you brought that down to 60 to 65 now.
I think we'll be all right. I really do. I think we can tighten our belts and do good.
So Diane, you will get that transfer done.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm I'll write a check and then she'll.
Right.
she'll receive
You
it.
write a check and get it back with the
And-
loan.
Was it-
Yeah, we agreed they got a rainy day, they went to,
That's where we agreed to get our
yeah,
part.
rainy day. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in, Kenny. And Robin. Sounds like you're gonna have to do some more hard work, Robin. Okay. Let's get the Veterans Office.
I just need some clarification on a letter that was sent out by the auditor on your behalf on salaries, stating that employees, part-time employees only can have 32 hours a week. And I have some unique situation that sometimes my employees go above that. One of the facts is if I take vacation or I go to my service conference once a year, my secretary jumps from her 64 hours to 72 hours of pay period. And then there's times where my drivers are could have a 40-hour week if they go up 5 days in that week. I just need to know your opinion on what I should do to handle, to curb it. Should I shut my office down, close it? Should I refuse veterans to go up to route a bush if I'm getting close to that 40 hours a week? And I got another problem that hopefully I'll get taken care of quick, but one of my drivers has accepted a job with the railroad, so I'm going to have to look for a new driver, which means the other driver will have to have the full brunt of the runs.
How many days a week going up there most of the time now?
We're averaging 3 to 4 days, but there's been a couple times.
How many day is that when they go?
8 hours. No matter what, it's 8 hours. Unless there's a no-show, then it's 2 hours show-up pay.
Well, how are they getting 40 hours? You got one van.
Got one band and five times
4
8.
days if they went,
But
if they went
but what
10
I'm
hours
saying,
a day.
what I'm saying is, if they go up 5 days in that 1 week, that's 40 hours.
How often does that happen?
I seen where Stan got 48 hours twice. And then there's times where one of the drivers will fill in for the other driver, because all my drivers are retirees and they like to go snowbirding too. But,
Well,
and,
part of it is consistency, if it's consistently being done.
okay.
You know, I mean, where it's just once in a while.
Okay, because I just was going off of the letter that was sent out
Right.
to make
It
sure I
can't
get
be every
clarification.
week,
But
every month.
here
nor
here
all
comes
year.
soon, well, I'm not saying we'll have 5 days a week, because November is a wonderful month for a county employee, because you get 4 days off. Election, Veterans Day, and Thanksgiving, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem going up that much in November. And like I said, I'm gonna have to fill Ron Moreland's spot, and I got a couple ideas on that, where I'll have a driver every other week, or the driver will drive every other week.
As far as your secretary, I mean, if she works, more hours for 2 weeks straight, I mean, you can cut her back to 20 or 18 following that, I mean, get yourself back in line.
Right.
But it's a consistency, is that right, John? And,
Yes. The county policy is 32 hours or less, it's part-time. You only get into the issue of full-time if it exceeds 32.
Continuous basis.
But yes, but that's the key, on a regular, continuous, week after week type of basis. And where you have a situation of someone filling in while someone's on vacation, or just simply a day you need an extra day in the week for a trip, that would not change it from a part-time to full-time status.
Okay, I just want to be clear on it before I do something wrong.
You're clear as mud now, right?
Clear as mud, thank you.
In fact, the wage and labor division, they really look at it on a quarterly basis, is how they examine it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Barb. Yeah.
I have 2 letters for you that I'm requesting additional appropriations out of our adult users fees fund, so non-taxpayer money. We need $2,000 to be transferred into our drug.
Do we have that?
No, I think it's just been transferred.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Drug screens, we have been doing an exorbitant amount of, these new drug screens are costing more money than what the regular ones were for the bath salts, and the K2 drug screens are costing us more, so we ran out of money. We also did hair follicle testing for the courts into divorce cases, and so we've run out of funds there. We're going to. And then $2,000 into new equipment, also out of our adult users fees, because we had a computer die today. We plan on doing new computers next year, at the beginning of the year, and we're not gonna be able to do it. It needs to be done now.
Is it in your budget for next year?
No.
No.
But we would have more money next year available.
I move that we allow this transfer. I move we allow both of them.
Second. Any further discussion?
You have to advertise that, right, Brian?
If it's an additional appropriation, is it additional or is it transfer?
It's more of a transfer out of
More
our
of a transfer.
adult
She's
fee.
got a-
It's not
she's
taxpayer
requesting
money.
Transfer.
It's our, the users fees that we collect, our adult users
But
probation.
is it in your budget already approved? It's not, is it?
It's, no,
It's additional money,
yes.
so it has to be.
It is additional appropriation.
It's an additional program.
Okay.
Okay.
Because the money's never been approved. You're not taking money that's already approved and moving it somewhere
No,
else.
it's not been approved.
So it'll have to be an additional.
I'm asking, yeah, to come out of our fund.
We'll,
It's coming out of her.
It's coming out of my fund, not
we'll
their.
direct you to advertise it and we'll act on it next month.
Who
Can't do it
seconded
tonight,
that?
but go ahead.
Did you have a second?
Okay,
there?
thank you.
A second, yes,
Donner.
Sonner.
Donner.
He's so quiet, I can't hear him.
Any more discussion on this? We'll get it advertised. Okay.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Do I need to come back or you just act on it? Do you need to say anything?
I don't,
No.
What did you say? Advertise it?
unless you're bringing something for Thanksgiving.
I could bring cookies if that would help.
Okay, Dustin Wills, WILZ.
What are you guys doing today? Everybody's numbers guys up here, so got some numbers on.
I've done business with it for years, guys, I'm not gonna worry about you, go ahead.
Have you? Okay. Well, so I'm with Gibson Teledata. We've been in business since 1980. Take care of like Sullivan County Hospital, Vigo County government, school systems. So we have offices headquartered out of Terre Haute. We have offices in Indianapolis and Fort Wayne as well. And one of the things that I talked to Barb about initially is your guys' phone system here is pretty outdated and pretty antiquated. So one of those things that you guys have probably been looking at in the back of your minds and just hadn't really got around to looking at new technology that's out there and different solutions that can be done. And I went and talked to Tim and the guys at the commissioners, and they said, well, they think it's probably a good idea to start investigating different solutions, and so they told us to come before you to talk about it. So some of the things I was going to talk to you guys about here was, if you go to the third page there of this little binder I put together. Today, the way you guys are set up, you have the courthouse has 36 analog phone lines coming into it. And the only reason it has 36 analog phone lines coming into it is probably because nobody's ever looked at it. Nobody's ever really said, hey, what do we have so many lines coming in here? You never have 36 people on the phone at the same time. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense the way it's set up today. So the courthouse has that many lines coming in. You're spending $1,341.86 a month just at the courthouse. Pretty significant cost every month. So you look at the sheriff's department as well. They have 11 analog lines there. They're spending $898.75 a month. The 911 office is right across the street. This is just their regular lines they have going into it. They have 3 lines and a internet service there as well. And my solution, I think that you guys should probably start to look at. A lot of the county governments do business this way. They start building out fiber networks between their locations that are close to each other. You guys have this location, and literally you could probably throw a rock to the sheriff's department from here. I think it makes sense to place fiber between this building and the sheriff's department and run everything, have just one connection coming from the outside world, and run everything between the 2 locations over your own fiber, and then you're only paying for one connection to the world. Then you can save money. You're only going to have phone lines coming into one spot. You can only have internet line coming into one spot. So you're going to consolidate your monthly spending. Now to do that, you probably want to look at a voice over IP phone system at both locations to kind of network them back together, back and forth. I've given you different options here. You can kind of go about it any way you want. The county health department's there too. It's got 5 lines, spends a couple $100 a month.
Does that include you, Jim?
Yeah, well, I think you was gonna get ready to say EMA, you got the fax on one line.
We were going to.
So we got T1 line already in that building, so would that help?
Which one?
The EMA and, county health.
You got one
I
in
didn't know
there
you
already?
had a T1 there.
You got a T1 there?
Yeah, see, when school corporation was there, they was there, but then the health department put a new one in for them.
Yeah, that would definitely help you too, so.
Yeah.
I think
Those are 5 there or 6?
Huh?
How many lines go in there?
I don't know how many health departments, I got 2, I got a fax line and just a regular phone line.
yeah, I think there was 2 on yours, and then there was 3 lines to the health department. I didn't actually get the bill detail of the health. I just knew what the actual number came out to from talking to Brenda. That was the only one I didn't get. I went through big old pages of all kinds of data on the phone bills you guys get a month. It's a pretty significant stack if you'd ever looked at it. So Brenda has to look at it every month. But so what I was thinking is, there's better technology since the way that this was set up. The way originally is just all old analog single lines. And what you could do is bring a PRI service in from, there's 2 different options. You can do it from Comcast or Frontier, both reliable. I mean, they're both good solutions. And the PRI, what it does is gives you 23 concurrent telephone calls. So with that, you're not going to have, what's the odds you really have 23 people on the phone at the same time between the offices here? I doubt it's going to happen. Yeah. So I just don't see that being an issue. So
Does this take into consideration judges, if they have a phone not provided them?
it takes into consideration everybody.
But don't they get that service for the state?
I think the health department does too.
a mistake.
I think they do on their cameras and TV and the video
Yeah.
link with the prison.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
it.
that-
Some of that stuff, yeah, I'm sure that's,
Yeah.
it's kind of separate from.
Board of Health does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they're paid by the board, State Board of Health on that T1 line going in.
We probably can't have both of them.
I don't know, when School Corporation was there, that's when I was on as a commissioner, and Dwayne then was still councilman, but back then, they put all them T1 lines in there. Now, it's still laying there, I mean, it's unhooked on our part, but.
So I mean, and today, I didn't even look into this part. You guys have a joint connection at the courthouse. I think you have Comcast from, at the sheriff's department now. I'm sure, it sounds like you got something at the health department, you got at least a T1, maybe a regular internet connection as well, the 911.
That's T1, she's not paying for a T1 line at the.
No, she's not, and that's.
Is there deactivated?
It wasn't in
It's
the.
It runs
deactivated.
through my garage, comes over, and I knew, they had,
They're disconnected, right? You won't get a T1 for $2 and $3 a month.
and I doubt it.
No, not at all. So, I mean, the way it's set up today, though, you guys have significant costs across your infrastructure here. I mean, you can do it in different ways. I mean, it's gonna be harder to show the justification on tying County Health Department and E911 like tomorrow into it. Fiber, whenever you're placing a fiber cable, you're usually looking at about $9 a foot. That's just for the placement, then you can have somebody splice it, but, I mean, you're really not that far. It's not gonna, I don't think it'd be a real significant build out. If I, just off the top of my head, I was an outside plant engineer for a telephone company for years, so that's the work I always did was just fiber and cable building. I would say you could probably go from here to the sheriff's department for anywhere from $12,000 to $17,000. That's just a rough guesstimate, you know. I mean, tying that and then over to the E911. So I would say for 20,000 probably in that range. Don't hold me to this. You probably tie everything together.
But you're talking also running, are you gonna run a fiber back to the Verizon's office there?
No, no. This would just be this would be the county's.
Where
County
you
would
gonna
own the
tie this
fiber. You can do whatever you want with it.
Where you gonna tie it to?
We'd have to have a connection come into it. So,
Have you got those costs built into this?
yes, I've got those costs built in. So today, you have, I didn't go into the data side of it, the internet side, because you have an internet connection at the courthouse today, I think it's through Joint. You have an internet connection at the sheriff's department through Comcast. You have a DSL line at 911, and I'm sure that you have DSL probably at County Health too. So you have 4 different internet connections that I didn't even factor in to this equation. But you can definitely, I mean, you can do like a 22x5 connection from Comcast for like $100, just to give you an idea, and you probably run all your data off of that. I mean, that's plenty of bandwidth. I mean, a T1's a 1.5 meg by 1.5 meg. So that just gives you guys an idea. So, I mean, you can look at, if you wanted to do it in phases, if you just wanted to say, hey, let's tie it into the courthouse and then over to the sheriff's department initially, and just see what the cost savings on something like that was. You know, there's many different options on that. So on the next page, I kind of lay out what, you know, what I came up with. So this is analysis with the Comcast PRI solution. So right now you're spending $13.41 a month at the courthouse. Long distance, you guys have a plan through, I think, CenturyLink, that you're spending about $300 a month on. And I just kind of split that number in half because you're not going to need nearly as much if you have the courthouse. This is just assuming just the courthouse in the first part here. So I just split that in half and said 150 because I figured half the calls are coming from here, probably the other half are coming from the sheriff's department. I mean, the bulk of the calls on the long distance. Comcast PRI, and they'll give you 4,600 minutes of long distance for $389. So, I mean, that would basically cover all your lines here. So your top 2 are, you know, inputs, and then the 389, you're subtracting that out of it. So if you did that, you'd be saving $1,100 a month, basically. You know, you kind of see the cost justification going on down, yearly, 3-year, 5-year, big number 10, which I don't think you guys care about. But, so then option 2.
We didn't put anything in there for future increase for cost of living and things changing.
In terms of
this whole thing.
Well, see, the thing about it is the way the technology's going, costs are driving down. I mean, the cost of PRI service today is, you know, like I said, it's $389 for 4,600 minutes of long distance plus a 23 concurrent call pass. The PRI is basically a T1, but you just use all voice across it. It gives you 23 channels. Back in the day, that was $900. So in a few years, that could be $300. So I mean, cost of technology is just changing so much and it's getting drove down. That's why there's so much cost savings here, because technology's changed so much since when you guys had this set up originally. So I mean, nobody's really took a look at this stuff and said, hey, you know, there's definitely some savings here if you look at it. If you just tie the courthouse and the sheriff's department together, which I think is like kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. You look at it, you got $13.41 a month for the courthouse bills. You got another $300 for the long distance, which $300 there. I'm assuming that all your long distance a month's pretty much from the courthouse and the sheriff's department. I don't think everybody else is using that much long distance service. You know, those are your two big employers, your two main lines. You know, I'm coming in. I think overall it was what 36 lines coming into the courthouse and 11 going in the sheriff's department. The other places had a total of 8. So I mean, that's where all your long distance service is being used right there. So you're saving $300 a month there for the long distance service, because the PRI comes with roughly almost the same amount of long distance with it included in the service. Sheriff's department spending $898, might as well say $900. Monthly savings, you'd be looking at $2,100 a month. Yearly, $25,000. 3 years, $77,000. So that's just those two places. I mean, and then I did a third option if you wanted to place fiber between all the sites. You know, if you want to tie all 4 sites you guys have downtown here together. In that case,
How much you talking about going over?
Over you?
and health department?
that would be, I need to walk it off with a wheel. I'll be honest, I didn't want to spend a lot of time unless I thought it was something you guys were interested in.
Well, something reason I asked, because there's a lot of ways I can get a grant to help pay for that part.
Oh, really?
And probably Carol could too, through the State Board of Health.
I mean, it's roughly $900 a foot usually to bore cable. So just do the math. I don't know what the footage is off the top of my head. I'd probably say 600 feet. You know, I mean, that's just my guesstimate. So probably $5,400.
Because you're hooking in the back of the alley back there with me and her both.
Yeah.
On the back side.
And it also depends on a good path, you know, being able to get there.
Straight across.
Yeah. Well, you gotta worry about right away, of course, but I don't think it has too much hard time getting right away. Yeah, it all bore.
Yeah, I think that I'm Don from Gibson as well. What we're looking for today is a go-ahead to put a full plan together to bring to you. What we brought in today, what Dustin's done is done some analysis for you to show there's some money you can save. Now you're gonna have to spend some to save some, but you got quite a bit of money we think we can save to help move towards what you're gonna have to spend to make it happen in the fiber and the technology you're gonna have to put in place. So we don't have a finalized proposal here. What we have is some ideas of why we think you have some savings that you can apply to even what you'd have to spend to bring yourself up to.
I'm sure you have a 3-year ROI on something like this pretty easily is what I've kind of analyzed and came to the conclusion of. Plus, it could.
So what do you think the equipment's going to cost?
I would say in terms of placing the fiber, just depending on where you wanted to go. If you want to just go between here and Sheriff's Department, I'd say probably $15,000. Just on the equipment, the telephone equipment and everything. I would say for the entire network, I would somewhere about 70,000 in that range.
Including the wiring or the network?
If I include the wiring, it'd probably be 90 for everything, all 4 locations is what I'm thinking there. If I didn't do all 4 locations, we just did this in the Sheriff's Department, we'd probably be looking at 75, something like that. That's just some ideas, you know, just kind of where I'm at on that. But, and also one of the things I was talking to the Sheriff's Department about is you guys have had some, I guess you used to have to where they could have the deputies didn't have to bring the criminals over here to go to court. Teleconferencing. That was actually a reality, but your guys' bandwidth wasn't good enough to allow you to do that. If you have a fiber cable between the 2 facilities, you're not going to have any issue with throughput to where you're going to save man hours of having to have a deputy come over here.
Are you going to put in dark fiber?
Yeah, just be a dark fiber. Be your own. I mean, you guys would own it. That'd be the thing.
Yeah, but everything can be buried.
Yeah.
We run a lot of fiber out at Marion the last 5 years, all of our outbuildings and stuff, and it made the speed, your computer speed faster, and of course they put more down in than what they needed. So any kind of additional changes that you have with technology upgrades, we've already
have that line laid to be able to handle that new technology. So I personally think this is a good move for the county, simply because if you go down there in the basement and look how we're operating now, it's a wonder that we haven't had any serious problems. I don't know who the guy is keeping this going, but somebody needs to bake him a cake or something.
Yeah.
It's amazing we haven't had a lot of trouble with it.
But you won't have any savings till after the first 3 years.
After the first 3 years.
First 3 years, 77,000 savings, and you're gonna spend 75 plus.
Pretty much.
So
It's pretty much a wash on the first 3 years, but you're getting all new technology. You're saving yourself, because, I mean, that phone system you guys have today, it's been there for 20 years. It's manufactured, discontinued. They don't even make the equipment for it anymore. You're about a lightning strike away from,
I have nothing.
yeah, I mean, from complete failure.
Basically, you use parts to fix it, right?
That's the only way you're doing anything on it today.
But
So,
if you upgrade the jail eventually, and any kind of upgrades we're gonna do, we're gonna have that fiber in place.
What about the hot spot you guys are trying to build in for having a service around the courthouse?
I don't have any idea about that.
Is that, well, we talked about it.
I'm not convinced that's the direction we need to go.
I
I wasn't there when they voted that in.
How much of it cost is it on the boring part? I'm asking for a reason.
board part, it's usually $9 a foot.
So, what's the cable price then?
Cable's actually pretty minuscule anymore. I mean, it's a couple bucks here and there, you know. It's
Well,
very
I'm
minimal.
asking because I've been working on a grant trying to get a surveillance on the courthouse through the jail where they're gonna bore.
Oh, really?
That's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah, I just didn't want to spend a ton of time getting you like all the real firm numbers until I thought this was something you guys wanted to do.
This water's gonna have more barriers in it than one.
Yeah,
You can
absolutely.
do several,
Yeah.
you can do several things with it.
You can do anything. I mean, you're basically tied together. You guys can do anything you want once you get the infrastructure in place. But today, everybody's on islands, and everybody's got, an individual path back to the world. But if you tie it all together, then you're all on the same island, basically.
What's the difference between a hot spot and this? This is what keeps the county going.
Oh, I know, I just was trying to ask you that.
I know, but this keeps the county government moving. I don't know,
I agree.
I'm just from the analysis, I think it's kind of a no-brainer if you guys at least investigate a little bit more.
Was Greg still on the business? Is it Greg?
It's Brett.
Brett.
Yeah. So Brett owns it, and he's owned it for a long time.
He started this business when he was in high school.
Yep, 15-year-old kid.
In his house.
His grandma had to drive him, he didn't have a driver's license.
Today we do about 4,000 customers throughout Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio, and they have offices in Indianapolis and Fort Wayne and Terre Haute, and it's been a growing business ever since. So
I've done a lot of work with them, and I think they can do the job. So I think it's worth looking into.
I would think. Put more figures together then, than we're going to do. So we got something a little more sound to look at.
yeah, I didn't want to spend any time. I've already spent quite a bit of time just putting this together. I didn't want to get too crazy unless I knew it was something you guys were at least interested in. So.
You want these back? When you take them back, and you can use the same folder when you bring all the data back.
All right, yeah, we'll do that. We're going green here, aren't we?
Spend the whole detail in it next time.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Does it make sense to do the whole thing at one time?
I think it really would save you in the long run. I mean, you got everything tied together then, and like you said, it sounds like there's some need over.
Well, if you do some video,
Right, if you've got some video plans and some things like that, then
well,
you
just
can
like with Jimmy over
add
there,
that together.
we can set up a monitoring station at your office, and you can monitor this whole courthouse when you're in there. Well, I'm just saying, when you're in there,
you want to be in there?
you should be off site.
No, you're right.
Maybe we want to check on him.
Of the morning though, Jimmy, you can check and see if it's being by the courthouse overnight.
No, you're right. That's reason we was talking about working on the grant with the
See,
surveillance.
we got all our schools tied together.
All schools.
We can monitor every building and every door.
Yeah, but I've already got surveillance on that. I can look at 2 or 3 different computers in there and see what's going on the outside and inside of my place.
Right.
So.
Well, like I said, what we need to do is just kind of take a look at everything, look at the infrastructure, just see what all will be involved with it and go from there, so.
The other thing too, if it's a cash flow issue, there is public sector financing now, available that we can help you with as well as, you know, from that standpoint too, so.
We'll just take it out of court out and make this.
Appreciate your guys' time.
You don't get that, do you, Tim?
Wait a couple months.
Okay, moving on, I got Beth Small here, and she's got bronchitis and 110. I told her to stay away from all of it. We're getting, Beth, up the treasurer's office. Last month,
See you guys. I gotta go.
she turned her bill in back on 8/28 for the reassessment extra work over the corrections that had to be made on reassessment. And she used money out of other areas to do that and come up with that to pay her bills. Now she's out of money. She incurred $9,020, which we tabled last month. Has that ever been sent?
Yes.
It's been, have we ever had any communication back from
No,
Tyler?
sir. Haven't caught it yet.
Where are we on the latest issues with them in the interface?
We finished up the last.
We've
few-
resolved those issues for next year?
No, not next year.
Well, you were showing me the ones that were probably next year.
There was 5 and we cleaned them up today.
Those are cleaned up.
That's on the one so we can get a tax rate. Right.
We're hoping to start on that Thursday.
Okay. But anyway, we still got this ongoing $9,020. And today she's requesting an extra higher payroll of $4,000. If she doesn't use it all, she'll transfer it back to us after fall settlement. If everything goes normal, then I can transfer $500 from my statements fund and $1,000 from repair and maintenance fund.
So what's she asking for?
$4,000.
I'm making a motion to allow the additional for 4.
And, okay, I won't go any further than that right now. Second by Kenny. Any further discussion on that? I mean, she's going into tax statement time, right? You know, we gotta collect the money and be able to do the work. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Now, how do you wanna handle this with Tyler Technologies?
Well, they sent the bill, right?
Sent the bill, they said they was gonna help us on that because they agreed that it was their fault. They sent right out there to two of them.
We have not. I sent it right today.
Well, I guess my motion, if I can correct it, if we collect the money from Tyler Technology between now and you do your additional, then you can put that in as an adjustment, and you don't have to do an additional. Because that is.
If we get it.
It's an insurance settlement, then you don't have to appropriate that. So you got 30 days before we meet again, so if you get the money, you put it in, and you go in and inflate the appropriation, which is legal because it's a settlement of it's not, they're gonna get their insurance company, so it's called an insurance settlement, and then you can spend it without having to get ours to approve it.
And,
Is that
you
fair
know,
enough?
out of the 9,000, there's between 4 and 5 of it that's going in to cover where she pulled money from other categories. Put it back.
So you put the 9,000 back in, this is your appropriation, if you get it, otherwise you do, go ahead and work on the addition.
Go for it.
Go ahead and cover her.
Should we send a second notice?
What?
Should we send a second notice
To them, when did you send it in?
after our last meeting?
Yeah, I would wait. Give them. Most businesses pay for the first month, so you think that, so you pay them right away.
So maybe it'll be coming.
What do you think, John? Wait a little
Yeah,
bit,
wait a
don't be
couple
too
more
obnoxious.
weeks, yeah.
Okay, Judy.
Okay, I came today to talk to you about the Minnehaha building.
About what?
The Minnehaha building out at the Fish and Wildlife area. The DNR, we had Larry go out there, we had Luke go out there. We talked to several different people individually so everybody would know what was going on. This is what we have at this time on a plan. We have to make a decision on if we're gonna take it. They're offering us the building for $5,000. It's 1,200 square feet. It has 2 offices in it.
How much land is it?
Right now, just parking lot.
Well, but,
It's, we have to negotiate with Nancy
well, are we
Robbins.
talking an acre? Because that's a long way back. Are we talking 2 acres?
Well, we'd have use of the access. We have to negotiate with Mansell Robbins because the DNR owns the building and Peabody owns the land.
Well,
And
you
Mansell's-
don't know who's maintaining the road into it or anything?
DNR is maintaining it right now.
But who is gonna maintain it if something like this would take place?
Oh, I don't know.
Where's this at?
Huh?
Where is this at?
The old DNR checks.
Towards Duggar out there where
This should go about a couple of road miles on the left. So none of the land's owned by, all we're getting is the building sitting on a piece of land that we don't have any ownership of.
Well, no, Mansell said he would negotiate with us
But
about.
I'm saying, this deal here is just for a building sitting on a piece of property that we don't own,
That's
right?
right. As far as I know, that's right. I asked Mansell in the very
The
beginning.
DNR can transfer that to us?
Yes.
I guess my question, I don't want to get into something like we did with Sullivan School here, where the city's having to spend $500,000 to make it mess up. Okay, we get the building and say Mansell, we never can come to an agreement. Does that mean we got to move the building?
I don't know, I never asked him that.
What do you think, John?
I took the county council and the county commissioners out there.
You just take me in.
Well, we invited everybody.
I never was
I
invited
didn't
to
even know
go.
anything about it till right now.
So,
I didn't know anything about this.
well, I talked to the other 2 commissioners. Don't, you guys don't talk to each other?
Well, I guess we're at a meeting. You've been at the last meeting, I guess.
No, I
We should have
wasn't.
been on our agenda to talk about it at a public
Well,
meeting.
it's gonna be on your next meeting.
So this doesn't include any, to make clear, it doesn't include any land. All we're getting is a pole barn.
And,
Then we can't
no,
work
that's
something out?
not, that's not correct. What we talked about with them was the land immediately around the building, but we didn't say a specific acre. We just assumed it was the parking lot.
Talking to who now?
When we talked to Mansell and Mark Ryder from DNR. They don't want to give us 100 acres or 10 acres or anything like that. They want to maintain that as the fish and wildlife area. But it's the building and something immediately around it.
So the bigger issue is get ownership of at least the land into it and back there, right? So, what do you think, attorney?
What, I mean, in the dark, what do you want to use it for?
Well, we were hoping to use it for offices. And when we originally did that, the Chamber of Commerce didn't have a place to go. And tourism was hoping to perhaps have somebody down there that could be there.
Like a visitor center type?
Like a visitor center type thing. Since that, and we didn't talk to a lot of people, and when we first started talking about, the FOP said they would go down there. Now, they don't want to go down there at this time. They didn't take it off the board, but they don't want to go right now.
Well, I
So-
have some questions about when you extend it out to non-government entities. I mean, tourism is a government entity, yeah, but Kiwanis, that, I mean, there's all kinds of good things with insurances.